Hi, I'm Stacy. Welcome to the kitchen of my old Kentucky home. Today on Bourbon and Biscuits, we're going to be cozying up for the winter. I'm going to be preparing that classic Kentucky comfort dish, Spoonbread, and Jessica is going to be making a bourbon cocktail that feels like a hug, the Hot Toddy. Let's get started. For a Kentucky Spoonbread, here's what we'll need. 1 cup each of cornmeal, whole milk, cream, and water. 3 eggs, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 teaspoons baking powder, and 1 teaspoon salt. For a Spoonbread, I've done a couple of things off camera. I have gone on and cracked the eggs and beat them, and I have boiled some water just in the microwave. So while this is hot, we're just gonna take this 1 cup of cornmeal, pour it in a bowl, and then carefully, it's a little hot still bubbling, which is what you want. We're just going to stream in this boiling water. Stir this. We're trying to keep from getting too many lumps in it as we do that. I'm just going to go and add it. Ooh, that is really hot. So this is essentially very similar to a cornbread, but with these really well beaten eggs and the addition of a lot of liquid. This cooks up almost like a souffle, and hence the eating it with a spoonbread, and not cutting into slices like you would a typical cornbread. All right, we're just gonna let that cool for a minute before we add the rest of our liquids. So now after we poured the boiling water over the cornmeal, we've let it cool down just a little bit, so when we pour in the rest of our ingredients, especially these eggs, that heat doesn't cook those immediately. And I guess it just needs the hot water to really saturate down and get that cornmeal nice and mixed in. So now I'm just gonna take the cup of whole milk, add that, and then a cup of cream. You can use whipping cream or half and half here. And add our salt and baking powder. And we'll get this really mixed in. Like I said, Spoonbread is just a classic comfort food. It makes a great side dish, especially for winter dishes. It'll be great with really, any meats. You might serve cornbread more with a heavy stew or like a burgoo. Spoonbread I've also seen used as a dessert, a little sorghum drizzled over the top of it when it comes out in that cast iron skillet. But again, the name Spoonbread literally comes from you eat it with a spoon. There's even a festival in Kentucky, a whole Spoonbread festival. Okay, this is a little lumpy still, so just want to get all those broken up before we add these eggs. I think that is looking pretty blended now. Again, these were 3 well-beaten eggs, and using this amount is really going to give this Spoonbread that sort of souffle-like texture I described. And the last, I've popped this into the microwave. It's just 2 tablespoons of the melted butter. And then of course, when this comes out of the oven, you're gonna wanna add more and just let that slather all over the top. Okay, now what I've also done off camera is Criscoed up, or greased rather, my cast iron skillet that we're gonna pour this in. So this is a 9-incher. You could use a 9 or a 10 for this recipe. And you could use melted butter or butter in this, or oil, but the Southern Secret Crisco is what I used. And all we're gonna do is pour this into our prepared skillet. Okay, we're just going to put this in the oven at 375 and bake it for 30 to 40 minutes. You're looking for a nice golden brown cover. So while I put this in the oven, we're gonna go to Jessica now, and she's gonna show us how to make a Hot Toddy.
So today we're gonna make a classic version of the Hot Toddy. We're gonna be using bourbon. I've got some piping hot water here, fresh squeezed lemon juice, honey, and cinnamon and lemon slices for a garnish. So I'm gonna take 1.5 ounces of this larceny bourbon. And we're just going to use a half an ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice and a few teaspoons of honey. And this can really be customized to your taste. If you want it a little sweeter, a little more lemony, just to go ahead and adjust those. And then we're just gonna top this off with our hot water. And when they talk about this being a great cure for a cold, they say the vitamin C for your health, the honey to soothe, and then of course, the bourbon always makes you feel better. All right, we're gonna give that a nice stir. We want the honey to kind of dissolve into the hot water. Everything mixed together really well. It smells great. All right, I'm just gonna garnish it here with a cinnamon stick and drop in a lemon slice. And there you go, that's all that there is to it. It's basically a big old Kentucky hug in a mug, the Hot Toddy. So Stacy, I assume that you also make hot toddies as the cure for the common cold?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can remember being a young girl, you know, how everybody has their first, when did you start drinking bourbon story, right? I mean, jokingly, I can remember my grandmother made hot toddies, and I can see to this day where she kept the white label Jim Beam behind a certain platter in the cabinet just for that purpose.
Well, I mean, these are basically good for you.
They are, right? They are. They were really good. Well, so have you ever been to the Spoonbread Festival in Berea?
I did not even know that was a thing.
It is a thing. I've always wanted to go, and if you can't go just to the festival, I have heard that the Boone Tavern there has like the state's best. That would make sense since they have a whole festival
Sounds
around
like
it, right?
a road trip might be in order.
I think so. One of the things I didn't say earlier is I wanted to tell you a quote from some writer that once said about Spoonbread, because I think it was pre-Civil War and maybe like somewhere in Virginia and Kentucky. They think it was like a French souffle, influence of the French, mixed with Native American corn, but at the hands of an African-American cook.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought that was really cool, that fusion of how we get our foodways.
That's a nice and rich heritage.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm enjoying the comfort food and the comfort cocktails and kind of staying cozy for winter.
I agree.
I hope you all are too, and I hope you guys join us next time on Bourbon
And biscuits.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.